going to drag races and being around it. Love horsepower. My favorite smell is burning rubber and alcohol. Like I just love the smell. When you get to a track, it's just, you're comfortable.
You're listening to the Good for Business podcast, where we feature interviews, tips, and tricks from owners, operators, and innovators throughout Mississippi and around the world. And now, your host, Colin Krieger. Welcome to the show. We're here today with a close personal friend, probably someone I've spoken to more than anyone that will ever be on the podcast because I stand next to him while he's building stuff for me. It's Michael Talley from Talley Fence Company. Maybe fences and decks or just fence?
Fences and decks. Fences predominantly. I do decks every once in a while.
Well, he's the straightest man in the business as far as fences go. He's done a ton of work for me. If you've ever been to my clubhouse, I got a really cool, all kind of wood stuff around there. We somehow spent 2 months hanging out together and built a lean-to behind there, and I think it's still standing.
Quite the lean-to.
It's quite the lean-to, built with 200-year-old wood. You could build another house on top of it. It's pretty cool. So, well, Mike does a ton of fence work for a ton of my friends, and I surprised him. I asked him to get on the podcast because he listens to more podcasts than anybody in history. So I want to hear a little origin story of little baby Mike Talley building fences.
Well, I started building fences. I was around 20-something, just kind of waiting tables. And there was a guy in the neighborhood, a friend of ours that would hang out and on the weekends. And he's like, you want to help me build fences? And so he gave me kind of a crash course. I was just trying to keep up with him, keep the hoses from getting tangled up and all that. And so I learned how to build fences from him. And then I did it for maybe 6 months or so. And then didn't build fences for a while, did it every once in a while. And then came back around to it when I moved down here and got a job at a fence company. And that fence company taught me how to build all types of fences, chain link and aluminum and wood and all that stuff. So I didn't really like working there, but it was a crash course in building all types of fences. So it was a good learning experience.
What other kind of jobs did you have when you were a wee lad?
My first job was Perkins. I was a busboy, so wiping down tables, washing dishes.
It's up in Memphis?
In Collierville.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was a good first job. I think I was 15. Worked on the weekends, evenings a little bit. And that was a good job. It's always a good place to start.
Yeah. And were your family from up there? Because my favorite part about you is not only the background in hot rods, which you're going to have to talk to, or drag cars, but is the Hawaii factor too. So
yeah, Hawaii was a wonderful opportunity. My dad got laid off the company. A new guy started running it, so he was getting rid of all the older guys. An armored car company, and so he's like, "What am I going to do?" Well, a linen company he used to work for had a job opportunity in Hawaii, and they just joked about it. Yeah, Hawaii, whatever. Well, next thing you know, my parents moved to Hawaii. So this is like right before he's going to retire. So what an opportunity, and perfect for my wife and my son and I. We got to go to Hawaii 2 or 3 times. I think my son went one more time than we did. But my son's their only grandson. So we got to go for Christmas 2 years in a row, New Year's Day one year woke up and went to Kilauea, and that was like amazing, like being on another planet almost. It was just a few months after it actually erupted. So you're walking around, there's streets that are collapsed. Literally it's like being on Mars or something.
Yeah, like a movie set or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I learned that it's nice and warm, but when you get up to the top, Kilauea, it's really cool, misty, rainy. So they make a lot of money selling sweatshirts. So right when we got there, we were like freezing, shaking. We rented a Mustang, top down. We're driving up, just freezing. But that was a great opportunity. I love Hawaii. We could have stayed. My parents were like, "You can move here if you want," and I was like, "I don't know, living when we're in Hawaii, but we would have to live with my parents." I was like, "I don't know." But getting back on the plane was tough because we were like, we could stay, but I, had to come home.
There you go. So how do you end up in Columbus, Mississippi?
My wife's family's from Columbus. So we met in Memphis. We were neighbors, and Kelly and her sisters, they all moved away. And when their dad passed away, their mom was here, and they're really close. So all the girls moved back here. So we ended up moving down here and been here 11 years.
So, okay. So that's not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you go when so you worked for Columbus Fence?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. We can still speak their name. They're good people.
Yeah.
How's the exit from there into entrepreneurship?
Well, it's funny. I've always had this 3-year limit on jobs. Like I'll do a job for 3 years and I'm like, that I can't really make it more than that. I want to do something different. So I ended up getting a job doing apartment maintenance for about 3.5 years. And I like that. The renovating apartments, painting, replacing outlets and fixtures. And of course you had those wonderful days. And then you had the horrible days. Friday afternoon, it's always, there's water coming down through my ceiling.
Yeah. I would say 90% of the calls I get about from my rentals are Friday at 4:45. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, by the way.
Yeah, it's been wet for a couple of days, but we're going to call you on Friday at 3:30. But I enjoyed that. I learned a lot. The guy that I worked for, he taught me everything. So now I know a whole lot about a little. I think most maintenance men are like that. We're pretty good at everything, but not great at any one thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great job as far as just finding more ways to make money, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know. When we became friends, you were still doing some maintenance stuff. Now I think even though I just outed you on a podcast, you publicly deny that you can do anything other than a ceiling fan, right?
Right. Yeah. But I did that job, and then I was building fences on the weekends after work. I mean, I was working 7 days a week for months at a time. And finally, one of our favorite people, I got to thank Catherine Munson. I was working at Munson & Brothers, and she was like, isn't this nice? It was a nice day. And she's like, isn't this great? And I was like, yeah, it is. She's like, why don't you, take the leap? And because I talked to her about wanting to, run my own business and all that. But just the nervous part about how long can it last?
Yeah.
And because of her motivation, I jumped in, and it's been like, 4 years or so. And I keep saying when the jobs run out, I'll do something else, but people keep calling. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're fairly priced. You show up. Like I said, your fences are straight.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've done some big dog daddies in Caledonia and stuff and got to do some cool fences. What have you got to do at Munson Brothers? You've done 3 or 4 things there?
Yeah, the perimeter fence was the first thing we did. He wasn't open yet, and you had to do the fence before, people could come hang out. I think it was part of it. So that was the first thing Ryan and I did. He helped me a lot. It was tough, building a fence in that area, you could imagine.
Yeah, because you're right next to a cement curb. And
yeah, we were hammer drilling through, old sidewalk a foot under the ground to set posts. It was a tough job. So Ryan's a pretty tough guy, handy, handier than he may let people know. But yeah, I love working up there. Done fences, some decks, gates. He usually calls me if he's got to dig a hole. He calls me, and gates. So gates and digging holes. He can do a lot of other stuff though.
Yeah, he's pretty handy. I think he built a pier at his house, didn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He built. It's like a little floating pier. Yeah, like a deck in the water.
Yeah, you need to hide your craftiness every once in a while.
Yeah.
I do an incredible job hiding any handy ability I may have. I generally stand next to Michael while he does work, and then sometimes I have good input.
Yeah, I definitely, every once in a while, something might be a little off, and you definitely have a good eye for that.
But yeah, Michael helped me, like I said, at my clubhouse. We built a lean-to that became a covered shed or whatever, enclosed shed. And we didn't look up any engineering schematics or anything.
No.
We just built it. But like I said, it is built with 200-year-old legit wood that is not going anywhere for the rest of the history of time. We were not opening a roofing company anytime soon.
No.
I think we had 4 different versions of an old tin roof,
Mm-hmm.
but it's been dry since then.
Yeah, no roofs. I know a guy. So, I can frame it up, set the post, get everything ready. And then I've decided that roofs just aren't for me.
There you go. All right. I know it's a little weird to just keep talking about wooden decks, but so you've done some pretty big decks, but that's not your.
Yeah. Oh, I'll do them all day long. It was a couple years ago. It was like fence deck, fence deck, fence deck. And last year, I don't know if I did maybe one, just fences. So yeah, I'll do them. No problem. If somebody wants me to, but yeah, it just hasn't been as many this year.
How's the pricing on wood affected your business? I know a year or two ago it was insane.
Yeah.
Which of course I chose to do a whole bunch of woodwork at that time, but how's it affected the rest of your work?
Right now, wood prices are good. They're pretty standard. You can go with I always look at 4x4s. If 4x4 is around $10-12, then everything's okay.
Yeah.
And COVID, it went nuts, but I was surprised. I still built fences all through COVID.
People were sitting in their backyard going, "I don't want people to see me."
Yeah, and they were using that extra money. They're like, "Well, we might as well, build a fence or do whatever. We're getting this extra money right now." So that really worked out well for me. And during COVID, just hanging out in people's backyards was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoyed that. But yeah, wood prices are fine. Yeah, everything's good right now.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to hot rods. I only get to over-listen a little bit about drag strip and stuff, but were you a little kid in Tennessee working on cars, or tell me that story?
Well, I grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and my dad drag raced. We were at his race cars in the garage, always working on the race car. I wasn't as into working on the car. I enjoyed, going to drag races and being around it. Love horsepower. My favorite smell is burning rubber and alcohol. I just love the smell. When you get to a track, it's just, that, you're comfortable. But my dad had a little Opel GT, cool paint job. He had a buddy, Mark Hanna, that had monsters all over it, just a wicked little race car. And he ran, that is like Super Rock class. So it was like a 630-ish, I think, as a dial-in class, 630s, which is pretty fast. But he, that little Opel, you get faster and faster. That little short car, you can only put so much horsepower in it.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting a Camaro, 68 Camaro, ran that for years. Big block, I think it was that nitrous engine, ran nitrous for a long time. Then my brother got a job for Clay Milliken working in the IHRA on a top fuel team. So he worked for Clay Milliken for years, and all they had, top fuel guys, it's all blowers. So my dad decided to put a blower on the Camaro, a little faster, a little faster, a little faster. And yeah, I just love being at the drag strip. From, I don't know, as my earliest memories, we're just at the drag strip running around, jumping on, playing tag, jumping on trailers, it was a great time. Great way to grow up.
For the unknowing public, how fast was your dad's car at different stages?
Let's say at the beginning, that 630 is probably, they're probably running 130 in 6 seconds, something like that. But the Camaro towards the end, he ran with a group of guys named Dixie Door Slammers. And there was like 20 of them. They would travel to different tracks and it would be like pro mod shows. So they would run a quick 16, quick 8 races. And they were on a 490 index, I believe. So they were running about 200 miles an hour. And a 490, 450s. I think they may have ran 450s too. So I believe my dad finally let my brother take over driving. And I was the pit crew. I didn't do anything other than exactly what my dad told me to do. Turn this wrench, put the air in the tire.
Yeah.
And my brother drove, but I just loved being at the track. I helped back him down, down the track, stuff like that. But yeah, we still have a Pro Mod in the garage. He bought it right before they moved to Hawaii. So it's just been sitting there for years. Yeah. And he's asked me if I wanted to drive it, but I don't know, zero.
Have you ever gotten to drive? What's the fastest you've gotten to drive?
Fastest I've went is just on motorcycles. I had CBRs when I was younger. So I think I went about 170-ish on a motorcycle. which sounds nuts, but I would be much more comfortable on like a pro stock motorcycle going 200 than a pro mod going 200. Pro mods are just so volatile.
They got to go in a straight line, right?
Right. Yeah. Pro mods rarely go straight. The front wheels are rarely on the ground. So, if you're not going straight, you just got to let off. And if you don't let off in time, boom, you're in the wall. So that's kind of why I'm nervous about driving a pro mod.
Yeah, I had a 78 Camaro that had a bunch of cool bolt-on type stuff. And I mean, we got up to like 130, and that's the scariest thing in my life.
Yeah.
That car was literally falling apart. There was stuff like bolts loosening, and because, it was normal tires. It had nice suspension and Dana rear end and all that, but it's still, there's not very few cars that are meant to go faster than 125.
Yeah.
They start having some serious problem and shaking and stuff like that. And I don't know. I've never tried to take the wife Suburban up that high.
I'm sure. I bet it'd go.
It goes 100.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a dream at 100. Kids don't do this at home. But yeah, we've been going to a Saints game, and had a college kid pass me up, and I'm like, I guess I can go 100 if he's going 100, and I haven't gone much faster than that though. So
yeah, that's the problem with like Cadillacs. You're just cruising. You can cruise at 100, you don't even realize it. Those smooth driving cars. We grew up with a 71 Chevelle Super Sport was my mom's car. That's what we ran around town in when I was a kid. And me and my brother, I remember, those cars, when you get up to about
Mom, don't listen. Earmuffs.
Yeah, when you get up to about 120, they start kind of floating.
That's what I mean about, because like at 90, that Camaro, you could hit the gas and it would raise up like it was ready to go. 355 it was 750 Holly. It was ready, but at 120, 125, I was just like, this is scary.
Yeah, it gets nerve wracking for sure. You got
that seatbelt didn't do you any good in that car.
No. But yeah, we enjoyed that Chevelle. It was a fun car.
So reference point, what are the fastest drag cars going now?
Pro mods right now are on fire. They're flying. There's a bunch of groups, the Midwest Association, PDRA, ADRL. They're all running, the bad dudes are running 360s, 350s. Last weekend, I saw a couple guys run 349s, 347, 220 miles an hour in an eighth, which is just insane. But the technology in the blowers, Pro Chargers, there's a new Hertz charger. It seems to be the fastest thing out there, so I'm sure a lot of people are going to be putting those in their cars. But yeah, those guys are running 350s, high 340s, 200, 220 miles an hour. It's amazing.
It's kind of scary.
It's terrifying, which is why it's so wonderful. You got to be brave to drive one of them things, because you just floor it and take off. There you go. Nothing better than a perfect run. But when they get a little squirrely, it's exciting.
Yeah, it's nothing really to steer, is there?
No, you just let off and don't turn the steering wheel. A lot of people make the mistake of you're going towards a wall and they overcorrect. Next thing you know, they're spinning out, flipping, So but the older guys know, you just let off. If you hit the wall, oh well, but it's better than flipping the car.
What's a car cost like that these days?
Oh, my friend John Sullivan just bought a brand new everything Pro Mod, top of the line Quartermax chassis. They're $350,000, $400,000, for the big, bad, best of everything Pro Mods. And, a lot of farmers, a lot of concrete guys and drag. It's funny how many guys in drag racing are farmers and concrete guys.
How does the mechanics behind the scene work on the money, the financials? The top, best 8 out of the 24 making a living doing it?
No, I don't think anybody's making a living making money. A World Series of Pro Mod, my dad and I go to every year. It's the winner gets $150,000.
It seems like you could blow an engine and be out of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You blow your engine, you're out, 50 grand. I don't know. But, for you buy a brand new race car, well, you got to win that race 3 times just to break even. So they're doing it for the love of the sport. They're not really. There's some guys out there that just drive for a living. They're hired drivers, hired guns, whatever. So they make a living driving the car, but they don't own the car, So that's a big difference. There's a lot of owners that are like, "Hey, you come drive my car." So it's a pretty sweet deal.
Well, I've seen that one from like start to finish to become a Formula One driver. It's a $2 or $3 million investment without the car. Like just to be, my kid wants to do ARCA, do all these other little tracks and learn all that. Like there's no, and then even the Formula One teams aren't really making money. They're doing advertising.
Right.
So, yeah, no, that's a interesting world to me where you're like doing something 12, 14 weeks a year and you're not making any money. It's just
for the love of the sport. They just love going fast. You can go up, all those guys, I've seen a lot of them for years, 20 years ago, they're running 5s, 5.0s, next year they're running 480s, and then they can't not go faster. They're like, we ran a 380, we got to run a 370, they just want to go faster. And to go 0.2 faster is $50,000 more dollars. So it's expensive to go just a couple tenths faster.
Where's the heart of that racing? Is that a Midwestern thing, or is it all over the country now?
It's all over the country now. It's pretty amazing. The PDRA is mostly Northeast, North Carolina up. One of a guy, his name's NC Pro Modder. He does live feeds at drag races. He started with the iPhone. Now he's got, equipment, cameras, and fancy stuff, but he just started with an iPhone live feeding for free on Facebook and YouTube. And now he's a big deal. He travels, he does it for a living. When he first did it, he had a job for years. And then finally he's like, I'm going to quit my job and do this. And he goes to Canada. So Midwest is kind of Texas, Tulsa, stuff like that. California and all that, I'm sure there's a drag racing world out there, but for the South and our area, Florida to Canada, over to Oklahoma and Texas.
When you go to those shows, you can go up and touch the cars ahead of time and stuff?
Yeah. That's a really cool thing about drag races is, you can walk up to the car, talk to the driver, if they have time, in between rounds, they might be fixing stuff, so you don't really want to mess with them if they're busy. But little kids, they'll let them sit in the car. I've seen them, let a kid sit in the car while they crank the car. I mean, you're talking about cool, and it's shocking the horsepower and the sound and the violence, it's awesome, but it's pretty shocking. If you're just walking by and not expecting a car to crank at that moment, it'll scare you pretty bad.
You need some earplugs in
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to a Play Tower shootout with our friend Nathan Wilson a few weeks ago. And I was just kind of moseying out there, and he's like, you need some ear protection, bud. I'm like, you didn't bring it? I'm like, I don't know. I don't go to these things, That's how I feel like I'd go to that. And then I'm getting older. I went to a Saints game this weekend, and I was thinking, like, I might need an earplug. I'm getting old.
Yeah.
Getting old.
I like the headphone ear covers, I did the sticking little things for years, but the head covers.
Do they have the same radio stuff like they get at NASCAR where you can listen to the crews or not?
No, they have that at NHRA races, where you can listen to the announcer and you can hear them. But at regular drag strips, they don't really do that.
Not that fancy.
No.
That doesn't sound too bad. So let's switch gears a little bit and get back to the fence game. Can you tell me a story about the worst fence you ever built?
Worst fence I've ever built.
It's mainly the post you're talking about. So I know the easiest one was around the corner from my house.
Yeah. Well, good dirt is my life. Good, nice, not too soft, not too hard. It's a fine line between perfect digging, like with a one-man auger, which is tough. But when the dirt's fine, in and out, you're done. There was a fence along a tree line one time, and every single hole was cut, sawzall in the hole, cutting roots out of the ground. And you keep expecting, well, the next one, maybe there'll be some dirt. but you know, it was like 40 posts, you know, and it was brutal. And of course, summertime, you know, whether it's when it's 110 out, you know, everything's hard.
Is that part of the hard part of the estimating, is figuring out the holes?
Yeah, I'll have people sometimes say, you know, I got the footage. Can you just give me a price? I was like, no, I got to come look. You know, I got to see the property, you know, because you're going to charge a little more, you know, if there's a lot of trees, or in this part of town, you got to charge a little more because you don't know what's underneath the ground. So, you know, it's not a lot more, but, you know, a little bit more just because you know you're going to spend a few more hours because the digging's going to be tough.
Yeah, I remember when you started next to my clubhouse on that greenhouse on Military, and I think you had a deal 44 or 48 posts. And I came back like 4 or 5 hours later, and you were almost done. You were smiling like nothing's ever been in that dirt before. It was just.
Those are the best days. I had a group of guys one time. We set like 50 posts, like that job, in like 3 hours. I think I had 4 people, which is very not normal for me. And everybody was just doing their job. Everything was going smoothly, and you just keep your mouth shut. And then when you get done, you're just look around going, okay, let's go home before something goes wrong.
That's why you quote the job and not the hour.
Right.
People, right?
Yes.
I know you're into podcasts. You got to give me your top 5 podcasts and describe them here, since we have other podcast listeners.
My favorite, I'm a crime junkie podcast, Crime Junkie, Anatomy of Murder, Park Predators, you know, just, I love the true crime murder podcast. Then, you know, it's football season, so Fantasy Footballers. My wife's cousin just introduced me to that. He's been listening to it for like 10 years. And I've been, you know, terrible at fantasy football. And he finally told me this year about that podcast, and it's really great. The guys are just regular guys, you know, but they're really smart. Fantasy football got good advice and all that stuff. And then you would go with Good for Business with Colin Krieger. That's a pretty good.
That's excellent. You're doing a great job. You've been my best guest already. Yeah, that fantasy league you're in, I don't know what to say about them. I did it my last year in fantasy football. I was doing a league from way back at home that now is at $2,500 league. It was $1,500 then. And I had nice. 2 other ones. And that year I found myself, y'all's league was free still.
I think maybe 20. We did 20 for years. And then this year somehow we meet once a year. A lot of us only see each other once a year on draft day. And somehow somebody said something about $50, and all of a sudden it's $50. So, you know.
Y'all are high rolling. For the record, I had to stop because there was a football game where the Saints were winning, and Drew Brees threw a pass to Marcus Colson, and I was rooting against the Saints because I didn't need him to. I was going against Marcus Colson, and I really was like, I've crossed the line.
It's
I'm
tough.
Rooting against my team.
It's tough when you want your team to win, but you want the player on the other team to have a good game, but not good enough to win the game, just good enough to win your fantasy game.
Yeah, I was a little too addicted to it. Well, yeah, if you listen to like 10 minutes of a podcast, I would imagine you'd have a strong edge on some of the brain warriors in your group.
Yeah.
Who do we got? Christian Heichel, Jake Ham,
Munson, Chad Seagraves, Nathan Wilson Beck. There's Josh Moorhead, my nemesis. He beats me. One year he had like 5 people on bye. He didn't start, you know, he didn't start that many people, and still beat me like 42 to 35, you know. So you know, fantasy football is so exciting and so frustrating. But yeah, every year at the end of the year, I'm like, this sucks. I'm never playing again. But draft day, I just can't wait for it every year.
Well, I got frustrated too. Thursday night football was just catching me off guard, and it was too much to deal with. Because like the trade deadline, free agency and trade things was a 24-hour period.
Yeah, you got to stay on top of it.
I come back from the day of 1998 of faxing lineups, and UA had to wait till USA Today came out on Monday morning to get the stats. Those were the official stats.
Yeah, Hinkle talks about that stuff. He's like, in my day, we mailed in our forms or something like that.
Y'all don't understand.
Yeah. But yeah, we love it. It's not, most of it is just about talking smack.
Yeah.
Like that's a
pretty easy group. Like I'm talking smack about most of the guys in this group.
Yeah.
Just on a daily basis, just walking around.
Yeah, we all get along really well, so it's fun.
It's not a bad good deal to be affiliated with.
Oh, Tyler Wheat. That guy.
Let's start with him.
Oh my gosh, that guy.
I actually reached out to the W to be on the podcast today after you, but they're tied up with other stuff. So.
Yeah, he comes in our league and wins 4 years in a row. It's like
What's he doing at work?
We don't know.
Do you make some calls? We need to launch an investigation at the W. Mississippi University for Women.
See some. Does he do stuff with computers?
Is he cheating?
He might be a computer hacker.
Yeah. That's probably pretty fair.
But yeah, we were wanting to kick him out, but 4 years in a row, it seems impossible.
Charge him more would be the way to do it.
Yeah, I think he needs to pay $300 to our $50, something like that.
Yeah, I was in a keeper. We had a two-person keeper league, and somebody in that league had Tom Brady as a fluke, and then LaDainian Tomlinson, and we're like for 3 years, we're just like, this is just completely unfair. And they're like, can we kick him out? They're like, no. But
yeah.
Again, other than bye weeks, like no chance.
But Jack Hand was, he's always
the silver fox.
Yes, the most hated in our group, for years. But now Tyler's kind of taken over that spot.
I could see that. I'll mention it to Tyler next week when I see him at the Welty Gala,
yeah.
which will date this episode a little bit.
Yeah.
Going on there. Tell me a little bit about your wife and child. What do they do? Are they helping in the business yet?
No, my son, he wants to go to work with me in the summertime sometimes, but it's just so hot,
It's a bad time to be introduced to your.
Yeah,
even I don't like looking over your shoulder when you're doing that.
But my son Graham is 13. He's in 8th grade at Caledonia Middle, and my wife Kelly teaches art at Caledonia Elementary. And we're a great little family. Graham's a drummer. That's his thing. He's really good at it. My dad was a drummer. So I guess it skipped a generation.
Yeah.
And Graham, he's drumming in the band at school. He's drumming at church. He filled in for the drummer a couple weeks, and he's just up there. It blows my mind. He's just up there, doing his thing, as comfortable as can be.
It hadn't even been that long. I mean, how long has he been playing?
A couple years.
Yeah, in the 3 years.
Yeah, maybe 3.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I know we were hanging out doing something when you told me, like, yeah, he's trying to do drumming. So.
Yeah, of course, my dad, when he first started, got him a pearl drum set because that's how my dad is.
Yeah.
And he's really great at that. So it's drums in school. My wife is not involved in the fence company at all. I think we would drive each other crazy.
It's a short ride.
Yeah. But I like being my own boss, doing my own thing. Sometimes I work by myself just because I like to just work by myself. You don't have to tell nobody what to do. Sometimes it gets old being like, okay, you do this, you do that.
Yeah, you've had an assortment of assistants over the years there.
Yeah, it's tough. My guy, Ricky, right now is awesome. I call him my helper, but he's way more than that, and he's got a motor that doesn't stop.
Yeah, he's an adult.
He's hard. You can't keep up with him. But so when we're working together, it pushes me harder too, because I'm like, all right, I got to try to keep up. By the end of the day, I'm exhausted, which is why a lot of times we work 5-6 hours a day, because we just go, and get so much done. I'm like, okay, let's go home.
Yeah.
But I can't hire full time, so I'll get a guy. My best thing is when people get fired, I'm like, hey, he got fired. You want to come work for me? And then they'll work for me for a while, and then they got to get a full-time job, stuff like that. But when people get fired, give me a call.
How do they reach you at the Mike Talley Fence Company?
It's 901-937-9858. And that's just give me a call or text me. I like text better.
Because you're out there sweating or digging and stuff like that, and if you have a text, it's right there.
Yeah, so I'll remember, scrolling through my text, I'll see it, oh, okay. With voicemail, I've had people call, have California numbers or something. They're in the Air Force, move around a lot. And I'm like, I'll ignore it because you just assume it's spam or something. Then a few days later, I'm checking my voicemail, and I'm like, oh, crap, I need to call them back. So I always say, please text.
That's the worst part for me is I love talking to strangers. Like that's the only way I'm going to get any business. And same thing, from 12 to 1 every day, I'm getting half spam calls. And then I'll get home and I hit the Wi-Fi and my phone will be like 3 voicemails. I'm like, please call me about this house. I'm like, no, I'm so sorry. And I never know. We have people who send, inquiries all the time online and we don't know if they're real, if they meant to hit the button or not.
Yeah, email and all. I don't really do. Every once in a while, somebody will say, email me.
I don't think I've ever emailed you anything.
No, I check my email. But, every once in a while, somebody will be like, email me a quote. And I'm like, oh, okay. I can do that if they want to. But, most of the time, it's just everything's text.
Now, drag racing would fit into most people's idea of a potential, guy building fences and stuff. But is it because of your wife that you have some appreciation for the finer arts? I know you've randomly brought up Renoir and other painters and stuff like that in situations. So
yeah. My wife is an amazing artist. She went to Memphis College of Art, got a degree in fine arts and photography, and I remember going up to her school and going in the printing room, the dark room, and the neighbors would always be over there painting. It was us, the kind of sports guys in one house. The next door was the art people. And luckily, we all got along really well. So it was like, 5 of them, 5 of us. We had a good time in Memphis. But she's painted some. We have a few Monets that she's painted, in our house that are just, she could sell, but I'm like, that's not. I love them. But I love Monet. Impressionism, I think that's the word. But Impressionism is my favorite style for sure. So but she's a great artist. Teaches art. There's not a lot of artists that do art for a living. That would be her dream for sure. But she's every kid's favorite teacher. They love Miss Kelly. They love going to art class. So
that's what she's supposed to be. You're supposed to be inspiring the kids to do it, even if they just have a touch of it in their life. So
I think the arts in school are overlooked a lot. Kids need that release time. Just to draw and actually learn. I mean, she's teaching them about art and about drawing and all that stuff. But more recess, more art. More stuff like that in schools, especially for those kids that can't sit still. Let them go, let them run around.
I was incapable and still. And this is the only time I'm able to sit still at all and not wander off in various directions. I know you knew that very well.
Oh yeah.
Was there anything else on your list? I know we were surprised you to have you come in here. You mentioned the Courtney Harris episode.
Yeah,
I am Courtney. Yeah. She was one of her, Ladrico Isaac. There's been a few things. Mr. John podcast, which is dropping soon from United Deli. Those are the top 3 of ones where I just sat here and I was like, that was great.
Yeah. I was just because I was coming on today, I was going through watching episodes instead of listening to them, and I started watching Courtney. Some of them I watched a little bit and I was like, on to the next one. But when Courtney came on, I was just like, wow, I watched it beginning to end. Very impressed with her as a human being, a business person. That was really cool. She's awesome.
Yeah, no, it was neat because I was like, I was asking around town. I was aware of her, but I was like, oh yeah, she's a hairstylist.
Yeah.
I had no idea she had all these other kind of layers there. But that's the most interesting part about doing this is like you're going to lunch and getting to know somebody and you don't know their life story and you can't fit it in there. You don't have any reference points or things to talk about. Like, I'm sure there'll be people in here who'll be like, did he talk about hot rods? Whatever. And like the wife's going to be like, just go talk to him about that, and get rid of him. So, all right. Well, that's about it. Do you have anything else interesting to bring up about fences? Give me your number again if they want to call.
My number is 901-937-9858. Michael Talley, Talley Fence. I do all types of fences, chain link, wood, custom stuff, aluminum, anything, basic residential stuff.
I believe Mike's done 3 decks and probably 14, 15 fences just for me.
Yeah.
And I'm not lying, probably 50 for clients and friends for me. I mean,
Yeah.
it's every month somebody's like, hey, I need a fence. And they've all been perfectly straight and not just no complaints, but everybody's like, how'd it go? And they're like, oh my God, fine. Price is fair. So
Yeah, that's one of the best things about Columbus is it's big enough to stay busy and it's small enough that word of mouth works. You know, you do a good job, anybody with a small business. If you do a good job, you're honest, got good prices, show up when you say you're going to do the job in a reasonable amount of time, they're going to tell their neighbor, their friend at work, whoever, and, you know, it might not be the next month, but I've had people a couple years later say, my friend so-and-so, you know, so yeah, just show up, do a good job, do what you say.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show. I can't wait for you to hear it. Just so you know, I am not going to release this till we do the little deck at my clubhouse, because then you'll get too busy for me and you'll forget me.
Yeah.
So it's okay. So, well, again, I'm proud of everything you've done. We've spent legitimately probably 100 hours with me sitting next to him. Don't worry, I wasn't doing the actual work. Supervising with the white hat.
Yeah.
Chit-chatting about life and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's it. Glad to have you on here. Michael Talley, Talley Fence, Buffalo Bills fan, but we'll let it slide.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the podcast. My name is Colin Krieger and my day job is real estate. If you're looking to buy or sell, I'd love to talk to you. Or if you just want to sit and talk real estate in a no pressure situation, I'd love to help you. I work with RE/MAX Partners in Starkville, Columbus, and West Point, Mississippi. I can help you find an agent anywhere in Mississippi or anywhere in the country. Just reach out to our office at 662-327-7705 or find me anywhere when you type in 662-329-SOLD.